For everyone, I will use this as a lesson for my sons to show them, you know, if you're standing on truth and if you're standing on the firm ground of moral truth and you start giving up inches and you start surrendering, then before long there's nothing left. And that's what's happened with the Boy Scouts at this point.
In order to learn how to treat a woman correctly, you said you're keeping your sons away from it now. Why is that?
Because they've completely sacrificed their identity. I don't want my kid, I don't want my son, this is the wrong example. I don't want my son to be associated with an organization that would give up its identity and its mission, which was a good, positive mission, just because people are upset. That's the wrong message. I want my sons to know something different.
I could understand if we didn't have a Girl Scout, but if you're a girl and you want to be a part of the Scouts, then you join the Girl Scouts. If you're a boy, then you join the Boy Scouts. There is one for each.
Exactly, and that's the way that it always seems to kind of go this way, where we take away all the spaces that are for boys, and we still let girls have spaces. So it's like in rec leagues a lot of times. Well, the girls can go play with the boys' baseball. They also have their softball team. Boys can't play on the softball team, though. So the girls can have their space. Boys can't have theirs. And, you know, I don't think it's right. We're depriving something. We're taking something away from boys that they really need.
And a lot of our military comes from scouting, and they have that background. And it's they learn some valuable lessons there. A lot of people don't like sports, but they want to be involved in extracurricular activities, and that's the time to bond and form that team. Do you think this could be just about enrollment? Since enrollment's down for Boy Scouts, they're going to try to suck them from the Girl Scouts?
I think that's certainly part of it, but why is enrollment down? I think enrollment is down because they started giving up who they are. They started getting away from their fundamental mission, which again originally was this is for boys and it is a Christian organization. So the more they get away from that, the more they lose people.
All right, Matt Walsh, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Meanwhile, coming up straight ahead.
President Trump hinting at progress for the release of those 3 Americans held hostage in North Korea, saying, stay tuned. Rudy Giuliani said possibly today. We'll ask White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders about that coming up.
Maybe they're seeing something we don't, darling. Let's give them something to talk about.
It took guts to start my business, but as it grew bigger and bigger, it took a whole lot more. And that's why I switched to the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. With it, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything I buy. Everything. And that 2% cash back adds up to thousands of dollars each year. So I can keep growing my business in big leaps. What's in your wallet?
I like it, I love it, I want some more of it. I try so hard, I can't rise above it. Don't know what it is about that little gal's loving, but I like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
We know you love it, so get more of it with Applebee's new Bigger, Bolder Grill Combos. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Guys, is this you? Busting out of your pants? Out of shape? No energy or drive? Then you need Nutrisystem for men.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
I'm Essex, and I lost 43 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month. Money back guarantee. Real guys, real results. Put down the wings, pick up the phone, and get with the program today. Order your 28-day plan now and save 40% off every program. That's 40% off breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. For a limited time, save 40%. Plus, get 1 week of all new NutriPro shakes, packed with 20 grams of protein to help shrink your gut, free.
The food was delicious.
I love the food. Pasta, pizza, so good.
Plus, we'll throw in FedEx shipping free.
It was perfect for guys like me who don't like to cook.
Lose up to 18 pounds and 8 inches overall in your first month.
It's simple. You eat the food, you lose the weight.
Go online or call 877-864-THIN and get free shakes, plus save 40% off every program. Hurry, offer ends soon.
In a world of cheesy add-ons and hidden fees, a hero emerges. Books.com. Free delivery, transparent pricing. We even have flowers from a volcano. Use code HERO to save 15% at Books.com.
For my constipation, my doctor recommended I switch to Miralax. Stimulant laxatives forcefully stimulate the nerves in your colon. Miralax is different. It works with the water in your body, unblocking your system naturally.
Save up to $5 on Miralax. See Sunday's paper.
And done.
Someone order a bunk bed?
feeling at wayfair.com.
What are the possibilities that the president will sit down with Robert Mueller?
Before they completely soiled the atmosphere, the chances were pretty good. Now, we're going to have some convincing to do. They're going to have to convince us they can be objective.
Breaking right now, North Korea may be preparing to release, get this, 3 American prisoners.
These 3 Americans have been transferred to a hotel in Pyongyang.
Millions of Americans across the country today will gather together for the National Day of Prayer.
They will be coming together to pray for America.
Luke Messer and 17 other Republican lawmakers officially nominated our commander-in-chief for the Nobel Peace Prize.
The only reason that the evil dictator from North Korea is coming to the table is because this president.
Jasmine Harrison, listen up, was accepted to 113 colleges and universities. The North Carolina teen says she's always leaned on her faith.
Didn't it just look like they were doing the wave kind of in the control room? Can we zoom back in? Can we zoom back into the control room?
Can I go in there with y'all? I want to have fun.
I'm telling you,
ready
look,
for
watch
a concert and ready
Watch.
for the weekend.
They're doing the wave in the control room.
That's awesome.
Actually, it wasn't the wave. It kind of all happened at once.
Well, we need to have as much fun out here as they're having in there.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Woo!
It's supposed to be a
You're
wave.
supposed to
But it's supposed to be a wave. You're supposed to stand up and you're supposed to stand up. You're not at one time.
All right.
Okay, do it again.
3, 2, 1.
There you go.
Now you stand up.
That's how you do the wave at the end. Okay.
Anticlimactic.
All
That
right.
was not even
All
fun,
right.
that last
Back in a
one.
moment.
Brother.
No,
Hey,
okay. But
welcome to the show.
let's talk about what you just saw 30 minutes ago. Rudy Giuliani was just here. He's now part of the president's legal team. We have not seen or heard from him in a while, recovering from a knee injury. He was offered the attorney general's position. He turned it down. He told Sean Hannity last night he regrets that. But man, did he make some news with the stance on the president's private challenges legally and the ones with Robert Mueller.
Let's start with the Robert Mueller thing. You know, Ty Cobb, who is now out, and Emmett Flood is the new attorney. Ty Cobb, he said it's not off the table, that meeting, that interview with Mueller. And Rudy Giuliani said if they do have this, he's going to give him about 2 or 3 hours, the same amount of time that Bill Clinton got. We're not going to drag this on for 12 hours, and he thinks it's going to be a trap. Listen.
Before they raided a lawyer's office, which will turn out to be an outrageous violation of the attorney-client privilege, before they put out the questions and completely soiled the atmosphere, the chances were pretty good. Now we're going to have some convincing to do. They're going to have to convince us they can be objective and they're not out to get
50-50?
I don't want to put a percentage on it. It's not as good as it was when I first came into it.
Exactly. Regarding, this conversation got started a couple of days ago when that list of about 4 dozen of the questions that Mueller might ask the president came out. And you look at those questions and it would take 2 days. Rudy said, no, 2 hours, 3 hours tops. Bill Clinton had to do it for 2.5 hours. But nonetheless, given the fact that now the president has got a very aggressive legal team, and for Rudy to say less likely, it looks less likely.
Well, look, they have not talked to anybody in the Trump family yet, so you can't say that they've done everything that they had to do. One thing is pretty clear. This is a thorough investigation. They're trying every single angle. I think if you look at the questions, you cannot rule out collusion or obstruction, even though there's a couple of collusion questions there. That means it's still in play. And you have no idea what their follow-up questions are going to be. So they're trying to push. They do not know, and I get the sense they really don't know if they're going to sit with him or not, and they think it will be unprecedented if the Mueller team came back with a subpoena, because then it'll go back into the courts, so this thing could be extended for another year, and you have this thing called a midterm election coming. Now, this is why I say the next story, I think it's important, but I don't think it's important to the average American, because while this Stormy Daniels story has fermented and not gone away with an opportunistic attorney, You now have a president's approval rating ticking up. You have things changing on the world stage rapidly, and consequential summits and treaties being, well, they're going to be front and center around in the next 2 weeks, and we're going to find out about a date about a North Korean summit. Well, Rudy Giuliani was asked about the Michael Cohen $130,000 payment. Originally, Michael Cohen came out and said, listen, I took a loan on my house, I paid it. The president didn't know about it. The president said on Air Force One, I didn't know about it. That story changed a little bit.
Let's go through. Let's start at the beginning of today when the president sent out 3 tweets, and then we will explain what it all means.
He wrote in the tweets this morning, Mr. Cohen, an attorney, received a monthly retainer, not from the campaign and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into through reimbursement, a private contract between 2 parties known as a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA. These agreements are... Do we have the rest of this? Very common among celebrities and people of wealth. In this case, it is in full force and effect and will be used in arbitration for damages against Mrs. Clifford or Stormy Daniels. The agreement was used to stop the false and extortionist accusations made by her about an affair, despite already having signed a detailed letter admitting that there was no affair. Prior to its violation by Mrs. Clifford and her attorney, this was a private agreement. Money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction.
Which is key. That's what they wanted to disseminate.
So those are the 3 panels that make up the president's defense. Keep in mind, people had said, look, this payment to Stormy Daniels was illegal because they used campaign funds. Mr. Rudy Giuliani and the president himself made it clear it was money out of Donald Trump's pocket. Ultimately, though, why did they make the payment to Stephanie Clifford? Well, Rudy Giuliani said this about that.
I don't think there's any contradiction to that. The president indicates he understood it. He didn't know the details of this until we knew the details of it, which is a couple weeks ago. Maybe not even a couple, maybe 10 days ago. Remember when this came up? October 2016. I was with him day in and day out then. I can't remember the details of what happened. But $130,000 seems like a lot of money. It's not when you're putting $100 million into your campaign. It isn't pocket change, but it's pretty close to it at the end. And I think when Cohen heard $130,000, he said, my God, this is cheap. Don't you think a lot of these people would pay that when they can? If you're wealthy, you're a target. Imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016. Cohen made it go away. He did his job.
So, in other words, what he's saying is Stormy Daniels, that's her professional name in that business, apparently she made it clear to Michael Cohen, I've got these allegations about the President of the United States, the candidate for President of the United States. And Michael Cohen said, well, you know what? How much is that going to cost to make that go away? He had her sign a non-disclosure agreement. Then Donald Trump won. Now that's why we are where we are today. But it was very clear from Rudy and the legal team now in the president's tweets, the money was not campaign money. It was out of his own pocket. And,
which I think is why Rudy decided to come forward with this, and he just said, we need to get this out in the open. We need to make sure the American public knows there was no felony, there was no crime committed. Yes, you might not agree with it morally. You have your own opinions about what actually happened. What I asked him, though, is I didn't understand why Michael Cohen, who's the attorney that's giving Stormy Daniels the $130,000, why he said he was not reimbursed before, and now Rudy is coming out and saying that he was reimbursed, that the president paid him back $35,000 a month.
And they got
retainer fee. Now he's saying the president didn't know what that $35,000 was for, that was going to pay off the Stormy Daniels stuff. But Michael Cohen, it looks like he had 2 different stories.
All right, a series of reimbursements at $35,000 a month, capping off at $470,000. So we'll see what that does for Cohen's case individually and with the president's case. He's looking to solve both the private and the Mueller situation at the same time. This is a brand new approach to fighting for the president legally.
Rudy makes it pretty clear. He's off the hook when it comes to that.
Right, no, who's not off the hook, Jillian? You're on the hook to tell us the news.
Yes,
is that okay?
I am, and I will do that, okay?
Thank you.
Good morning. Let's start with this Fox News alert. There is a manhunt that is intensifying for a suspect accused of holding his wife hostage for 3 days. As many as 8 police officers hurt trying to coax him outside when a barn exploded and burst into flames. Neighbors in North Haven, Connecticut were left stunned.
The house shook. My wife fell down. We came out, the fire was engulfed by that point. You could hear rounds popping off, and the road just turned crazy. Fire trucks, police cars.
The suspect's wife was able to escape, but it's unclear how she got away or why the barn exploded. All of the injured police officers are expected to be okay. Investigators are desperately trying to figure out why a military plane took a nosedive into the ground, exploding into a fireball. This disturbing video showing the crash moments after takeoff near Savannah, Georgia. All 9 crew members on board were killed. The cargo plane, belonging to the Puerto Rico Air National Guard, was on its way to Arizona to be decommissioned. None of the victims have been identified. President Trump has all but decided to withdraw from the nuclear deal. That's according to a new Reuters report as the May 12th deadline approaches. If the U.S. decides to end the sanctions relief, it could trigger backlash from Iran. The UN Secretary General warns that could mean war. But President Trump may decide to listen to the advice of French President Emmanuel Macron and stay in the deal for, quote, alliance maintenance. That's a look at your headlines. We will certainly keep you updated on all of these stories.
Sounds like it's au revoir for the deal.
We will see.
All right. Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you. All right, 7 states are now suing the Trump administration to force the end of DACA. The Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is leading that charge, and he's going to join us live next.
And this police officer is on the beat, literally. The new music video. It's going viral. We'll tell you the story.
We all share this world, share the same hopes and dreams. You dream of a future that respects the environment. We work on electric car batteries that last longer, create catalytic technologies that help make the air cleaner, and find ways of making cities use less energy. You keep wishing, we'll keep innovating. It's why we're optimistic about the future. BASF, we create chemistry.
Here's the story of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters Sumatra Reserve. Let's go to Sumatra. The coffee here is amazing because the volcanic soil is amazing. So we give farmers like Vin more plants to grow more delicious coffee, which helps provide for Vin's family. All for a smoother tasting cup of coffee. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters.
Action. Canine Advantix 2 kills fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes through contact.
Not mosquitoes, mosquitoes, like the bug.
Right. That makes more sense. Canine Advantix 2 from Bayer. Wise choice.
Look, cleaning the outside of your windows is a real chore. And who wants to climb a dangerous ladder just to get to the second floor? Not anymore.
Hi, I'm John Florell, the Fuller Brush Man. And this is Full Crystal from the Fuller Brush Company. The fastest, easiest way to clean all of your windows in minutes, not days. Just add the cleaning crystals, attach it to any garden hose, and away you go. The secret is in the Fuller cleaning crystals that dissolve dust, dirt, pollen, and grime in no time. And here's the best part. You don't have to remove your screens because Full Crystal cleans them too. Watch what I'm gonna do. This screen may look clean, but look how Full Crystal blasts away the dust, pollen, dirt, and grime while it cleans your window at the same time. And that'll save you a ton of time. Look, even with the ladder, you couldn't reach that window. But with the Full Crystal Power Sprayer, you can clean windows up to 27 feet high. Simply aim, spray, and walk away, leaving your windows spot-free, streak-free, and with both feet securely on the ground. For a clean so clear, your windows will virtually disappear. Plus, it's completely safe for all of your plants, lawns, shrubs, and flowers. And watch this. Full Crystal gives you the power to blast away cobwebs, dirt, and debris from shutters, gutters, and overhangs. Use it to perfectly power wash patio furniture. And simply touch the switch between suds and rinse for a spot-free clean on your car, truck, boat, or RV. Call or go online now to order the complete Full Crystal system with enough cleaning crystals for up to 20 windows for the factory direct price of just $19.99. But order right now and we'll double the cleaning crystals. Enough for up to 40 windows, just pay a separate fee. And remember, it's from the Fuller Brush Company, so your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. Call or go online to buyfullcrystal.com.
We decided to go with Bathfitter after doing a lot of research.
Yeah, we loved how they could install a new tub right over the old one without tearing our bathroom apart.
Yeah, what we didn't expect was to be blown away by the quality. And that's what happened. They showed up in the morning, and by the end of the day, we had this absolutely beautiful new bathtub. It was better than we could have even imagined.
And it's guaranteed for life.
I actually love our bathroom now.
You too can have a bathroom you'll love. Call now or visit bathfitter.com.
Fox News Channel on Sirius XM. Your favorite shows on Channel 114. Plus, every story, every 15 minutes. Fox News headlines 24/7. Channel 115.
Texas now leading a number of other states with a new crackdown on illegal immigrants by suing the Trump administration to force an end to DACA. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton joins us right now from Addison, Texas. Good morning to you, Ken.
Good morning.
Okay, so explain this to me. DACA was never a law. It was just an executive order. And yet, because it's caught up in the courts, it's kind of in legal limbo. Why are you suing the federal government?
So when we sued initially over DAPA and were successful, during that process we discovered that what President Obama had told us, which was this was not a pathway to citizenship, was actually false. There have been over 1,000 DACA recipients who have been given citizenship. There are over 39,000, I believe, at this point, who are on a pathway to citizenship.
Right.
So we got inaccurate information, and we believe this is, just like DAPA, is unconstitutional.
Well, what's interesting about this case, Ken, is the fact that the president wants to put an end to it, the attorney general wants to put an end to it, and by virtue of you suing, the Department of Justice now has to decide, are they going to defend DACA in court, or are they going to say, you know what, we're going to take a pass?
Yeah, it's a very interesting case, and you're right. President Trump has tried to rescind this, and 3 federal judges, we believe, have stepped in unlawfully and stopped it. And this is our way of pushing that forward and hopefully having the opportunity to stop this from happening.
Okay. Some of the states, we've got a big map over there that shows the states suing to end DACA. They include your state, the big one, Texas, Nebraska, Arkansas, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, and West Virginia. And all the attorney generals are on the same page with this?
Absolutely. You know, look, we've been fighting this for years, and this case is so similar to the one that we were successful in a couple of years ago, and we believe these are the same, basically the same facts, same law that'll apply to this case.
Okay, there's one other topic we want to talk to you about, Mr. Attorney General, and that is the fact we've been covering the caravan at the border between Mexico and Southern California for about a week and a half now. And there's some images from Sunday where some of the people who were apparently trying to get amnesty climbed up on the wall, didn't jump over it, because then they would have been arrested. But one of the problems right now is there is such a backlog, and the Attorney General apparently is sending more U.S. attorneys, more judges to our southern border to try to get this done, because right now over 1 million delayed deportations because we do not have enough personnel down there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And this is one of the problems with the Obama administration. This backlog occurred during their time, both on deportations and hearing the cases. And so people would come to this country, they come in illegally, they're supposed to have a hearing, and then ultimately they just end up staying because our government isn't doing its job, either on the border, stopping people from coming in, or when they get in, not dealing with the cases or with deportation.
So people have to understand, all these people are, things have changed right now, though, under the Trump administration, and that is, rather than just come on in, fill out this paper, and come back in 6 months when we're going to hear your case, they're actually holding people there at the border until they figure it out, right?
Oh, this is drastic change under the Trump administration. First of all, they're actually letting the border agents do their jobs, which is stop illegals from coming in. But then once they're in the process of trying to speed this whole deportation hearing thing up. So it's, in Texas, we're grateful. We're a border state. We have to deal with the problems of the border. And so we're grateful to have a president actually doing something about this.
Well, we are grateful that you would stop by today. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for the great state of Texas. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right. It's about 8:20 here in New York City. Coming up, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders joins us live from Washington. Lots of questions. She's got lots of answers. And remember when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he'd open up his borders to refugees? Well, now he's got a problem. And he's blaming America.
program is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses. Color, clarity, detail.
At Maui Jim, we're inspired by color, driven by clarity, and dedicated to improving your view no matter your vision. Our prescription sunglasses are the most technologically advanced available and are 10 times more accurate than those produced by conventional labs. Our Polarized Plus 2 technology enhances color and blocks harmful rays, while our digital processing allows for the widest possible field of vision. Speak to your eye care professional and discover greater clarity with Maui Jim. The view's better from here.
If you've been turned down for a mortgage because of credit or tax return issues, Cash Call Mortgage now has credit and income-solving mortgages for people like you. Just call 855-890-CASH and we'll work with you to find a solution to your mortgage issues.
You wouldn't believe what's in this keister. A farmer's market, a fire truck, even a marching band. And if I can get comfortable talking about this keister, then you can get comfortable using Preparation H for any sort of discomfort in yours. Preparation H. Get comfortable with it.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Tape. The super strong waterproof tape that can instantly patch, bond, seal, and repair. Flex Tape's triple thick adhesive welds itself to the surface, stopping the toughest leaks. And new Flex Tape Clear creates a super strong watertight seal. Flex Tape Clear is virtually invisible, perfect for all types of repairs. Flex Tape is super strong, and once it's on, it holds on tight. And Flex Tape Gray can patch large cracks and holes. To show you the power of Flex Tape, I sawed this boat in half and repaired it with Flex Tape. Not only does Flex Tape hold the boat together, but the inside is completely dry. Get Flex Tape in clear, gray, black, or white, plus a handy can for $19.99. Call now.
Hi, honey. Hey, Mom. So I quit my job at the law firm, but I'm starting my own gluten-free dog food company.
Well, that's wonderful, sweetie.
Yeah, no, everything's great. Can I call you right back? Sure.
Give Mom more than one day. Give her flowers that last at least 7 days. Guaranteed. From Pro Flowers. 24 colorful roses in a ruby ombre vase for just $24.99. Go to proflowers.com. Pro Flowers. Fresher flowers last longer.
When you're looking for an apartment, shouldn't you get exactly what you want? We think so. That's why we've put so much thought into how to match you to the perfect place, so you can get straight to an apartment that checks off everything on your wish list. Start your search today at apartmentlist.com. Your wish list come true.
We have got some quick headlines for you right now. A group of Muslim men can once again sue after being put on the no-fly list. The men claim they were given the designation after they refused to become FBI informants and say their religious rights were violated. An appeals court ruling their original lawsuit was improperly tossed by a lower court. And the company at the center of the Facebook privacy scandal is shutting their doors. Cambridge Analytica is filing for bankruptcy. The political consultancy firm claims it's been vilified for legal activities after collecting data from up to 87 million Facebook profiles. This, however, will not interfere with those pending investigations, and there are plenty. Also,
earlier on Fox and Friends, Rudy Giuliani firing back as he prepares the president for a potential Mueller sit-down.
This started as collusion with the Russians. No.
Right.
Now they go to obstruction of justice, collusion among the players. What they're really trying to do is trap them into perjury. Maybe they like to give us all the things that Clinton got. We're asking for only one thing, quite reasonable. This is the President of the United States. He's getting ready to negotiate probably one of our most historic agreements. We have to go there and prepare him for this silly deposition.
All right, here to react, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. Hi, Ms. Press Secretary. Great to see you.
Good morning.
Just your response to Rudy Giuliani, new to the legal team but heading up things. How much of a distraction is it?
Look, we come here every single day. We're focused on the task at hand, whether it's in negotiations and conversations with China on trade, whether it's getting prepared for the summit to take place with North Korea, whether it is focused on growing the economy, creating jobs. That's what we're certainly focused on. That's what we would like the media to be focused on. But this is certainly, I think, a distraction. But I think it's a distraction to the American people, and I think it's a real disservice to them not to get to hear about a lot of the great things that are taking place in this administration and a lot of the big things that have global impact that are going to be taking place over the next couple of months.
Well, I tell you what, Sarah, I've got a feeling, although we've been busy doing this show for 2 hours and 25 minutes, on the other shows, they're talking about the fact that Rudy Giuliani was on with Sean Hannity last night and on with us today, talking about how the president personally reimbursed his attorney, Michael Cohen, for that payment to Stephanie Clifford to have that story essentially disappear before the election. What would you like to say about what we have heard from the former mayor of New York City in the last 12 hours?
Look, Mayor Giuliani is part of the president's legal team. He's got visibility and insight into this issue. He's spoken about this at length both last night and this morning. I would refer you back to his comments, particularly given the fact that this is ongoing litigation. It's something that we at the White House can't comment on, and I would refer you both to his comments as well as the president's tweets from earlier this morning.
All right, well, it's definitely something that's in the news. We have to talk about it, but let's get on to other things, other hot topics or big topics that do affect the average American. We're talking about North Korea. The president, I mean, this would be unbelievable if the president sits down with Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-un gets rid of their nuclear weapons. We're also concerned about those 3 Americans that are there in North Korea. We're being told some of those hostages could be freed. What's the latest on that?
Certainly that would be an incredible step and certainly a sign of goodwill moving into the summit, moving into these discussions with North Korea. I can't comment any further at this point, but that would be a great example of goodwill and certainly another step in the right direction and a really good step and part of the process that we're working towards leading up to this summit. We, again, are cautiously optimistic about where this will go. As the president has said, we'll see what happens. He's been extremely tough on North Korea. He's had the ability as a strong leader to bring in our allies and partners in the region to get them to step up and put pressure on North Korea like we haven't seen in the past. And they're starting to feel that pressure. You can see by the movements that they've made, by the concessions they're beginning to make, and the comments that they've made publicly that they want to have this conversation. Again, they are feeling the pressure that has been put on them at the president by the president's leadership, and we're certainly moving forward in this process, but we remain, again, cautiously optimistic about everything leading into these talks.
Would you be surprised if something happened today?
I wouldn't say that we have an announcement, certainly right in this moment. But again, we are seeing signs of progress, and certainly this would be a huge statement by the North Koreans and something that would certainly be a great sign of goodwill prior to a sit-down with President Trump and Kim Jong-un.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that sit-down. We know it probably will be in the DMZ betwixt North and South Korea. But what's the timetable? I mean, we heard from Rudy on the couch. He doesn't want the president to even consider sitting down with Mr. Mueller until after this happens, the North Korean summit. So when is the North Korea summit going to happen?
As you know, I'm not going to be able to, as much as I'd love to make an announcement on Fox and Friends, I'm not going to be able to put that information out this morning on either the location or the date. But certainly things are moving forward and moving forward quickly. And as the president said earlier this week, we expect something to be out soon on more details revolving that meeting.
So everyone's looking forward to seeing the next director of the CIA. Acting Director Gina Haspel has been nominated. She spent her entire career at the CIA. I know people at the agency are over the moon about the chance to have somebody who grew up in the agency run them. However, huge headwinds are straight ahead for some reason because of her alleged role in black sites and enhanced interrogation. Both, I think, are resume builders, if you ask me, because it was approved by the Department of Justice. Tell me about Gina Haspel's path to success.
Look, you've got one of the most highly qualified, most capable individuals that's being put up to be the director of the CIA that we've probably ever had. There's a reason that she's got widespread support from people all across the spectrum that have worked at the CIA, that have led the CIA, both Republicans and Democrats, administrations. This is somebody who could not be more qualified to lead this agency. She's got the confidence of the rank and file within the department because she has been part of it. As you said, she grew up in this department. She is prepared to step in and lead on day one, and we feel very good about the fact that she's probably one of the most qualified nominees you could find across the board in this country to lead this agency, and we're excited about her confirmation process and know that she's going to be a great CIA director.
But Rand Paul is not.
Rand Paul doesn't always make the right decisions right away, but we hope he gets there because it's definitely the right decision to support somebody who has such in-depth knowledge, such preparedness to take this job on, and somebody that is so qualified to lead this agency.
Sarah, got to ask you about the White House Correspondents' Dinner because I don't think you've talked about it since that happened. I don't think you've been on. I know you haven't been on our show. We're so sorry that happened. It's there's no excuse for that. I mean, women should support other women, and I just wanted to get your reaction because I thought you handled it with grace and with class.
Thank you. Look, I think that that evening says a whole lot more about her than it does about me. The people that were my friends before that evening are my friends today, and I'm going to continue doing the job that I came here to do every single day. I'm very proud of the fact that I work in this administration for this president, and we're going to keep pushing forward and doing everything we can to make America better. And I think we've had a great first year and a half at doing that, a huge success story that we're proud of, and I hope that she can find some of the same happiness that we all have, because I think she may need a little bit more of that in her life, because the rest of us here are doing great.
All right. Sarah Huckabee Sanders joining us from the North Lawn of the White House. Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I saw her after, and she was just the same. It did not affect her at all right after the whole thing.
She's one tough cookie.
Yep.
Yeah. Working hard. She's a working mom.
She
doing
rose
the
above
best
the
we can.
shabbiness.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. The president is set to speak at the NRA convention tomorrow. So what can we expect? NRA spokeswoman Dana Lash is here with a preview. Coming up next.
They're all going in the same direction, but in very different ways. And Pampers gives all of them our driest, best-fitting diaper. Pampers Cruisers with 3-way fit. They adapt at the waist, legs, and bottom, with up to 12 hours of protection for all the freedom to move their way in Pampers Cruisers. Only Pampers diapers are the #1 choice of hospitals, nurses, and parents.
Millions of people across the country are losing weight and improving their health. What do we all have in common? Nutrisystem.
Introducing Turbo 13 from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guaranteed.
No matter how much weight you want to lose, Nutrisystem can help you reach your goal.
I'm living healthier and happier now. It was easy to follow.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
It's your favorite foods made healthier.
No counting, no measuring, no weigh-ins.
Order now and save 40% off every program. That's 40% off breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and snacks. Act now and get this limited time savings on every program. Plus, get 1 week of delicious turbo shakes to help shrink your belly free.
Bye-bye, belly fat. Join the millions who have lost weight and improved their health. Call or go online right now.
Go online or call 877-620-THIN and get free shakes plus save 40% off every program. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Promote what makes your business great with marketing products from Vistaprint. Get 500 standard business cards starting at just $9.99. Plus, in celebration of Small Business Week, get up to 33% off site-wide. Just enter promo code SMALLBIZ before May 6th at Vistaprint.com.
You eat healthy, take statins, but still struggle to lower your LDL bad cholesterol.
You also have heart disease, and fear a heart attack or stroke could strike without warning, pulling you away from everything you love. Because with high LDL, your risk of a heart attack or stroke is real. Now you can reduce that risk with Repatha. Repatha plus a statin dramatically lowers your LDL bad cholesterol by 63% and is proven to significantly drop your risk of having a devastating heart attack or stroke.
Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha may cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include redness, severe rash or itching, swollen face, or trouble breathing. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
Don't let a heart attack or stroke come between you and everything you love. Tell your doctor you're ready to lower your LDL and reduce your risk for real with Repatha.
Pay no more than $5 per month with a Repatha copay card.
We are announcing today that we are adding 35 assistant United States attorneys to the border to prosecute illegal entries into our country. We're also announcing that we're moving 16 or 18 actually immigration judges to the border. We are not going to let this country be overwhelmed. People are not going to caravan. People should wait their turn, ask to apply lawfully before they enter our country. So we're sending a message worldwide: don't come illegally.
That is so clear. That's our Attorney General speaking yesterday in Washington, D.C. Somebody who lives in a border state is Dana Lash. She's a radio talk show host, and she joins us today from Dallas. Dana, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you all.
So we've heard so much about this caravan over the last 10 days or so, and the Attorney General now is sending more resources down to our southern border, more U.S. attorneys, more judges. There's a 1 million case backlog. That's a new message that needs to be made very clear to people who are thinking about coming to this country, as the Attorney General says, illegally.
Absolutely. Speaking personally on this, here in Texas, having been down to the border, having met with Border Patrol agents and spoken with a number of Border Patrol chiefs, I understand completely their desire to see law and order in the Department of Justice, and they really needed the Department of Justice to back them up on this. They were thrilled when the president was sending a National Guard to the border because they needed the help. I mean, to see the amount of area that these guys got to cover is amazing. But isn't it great, guys, to have a law and order Attorney General back in the Department of Justice? Because we've missed that these previous 8 years. Someone actually upholding the law and respecting the sovereignty of the United States. It's incredibly refreshing.
The best picture that President Trump could have for his belief that our borders are porous are those so-called refugees sitting on top of the fence, effortlessly climbing up, knowing they can get over it in a moment's notice, like we step over a small puddle. I mean, that is a perfect picture that shows the president is not making up for fear-mongering. Don't you agree?
I agree. He's enforcing all the lines that previous administrations have written out, apparently. No, I mean, being down there and talking to people who live near the border, I mean, they have to worry about this as well. They have to worry about their resources being used. Border Patrol have to worry about these incidents being exploited by drug cartels who, when you have mass numbers of individuals who are attempting to enter illegally into the United States, they use that opportunity to traffic tons of drugs right across the border, right under the nose of Border Patrol, who, because of the previous administration, were under-resourced and understaffed. And so now we're finally starting to see movements towards this. With knowing so many people who live by the border, and also, it doesn't even matter if you're by the border. This is an interior problem as well. Yep. I'm so happy to see the administration address this and finally crack down because, look, there's a process to enter the country. If you want to enter the country, you have to go through the legal process just like everyone else does, period.
Now, Dana, I know you're an NRA spokesperson. You're meeting in Dallas. The NRA is meeting for the convention in Dallas, and I understand the president's going to be addressing the group.
Yes, he's going to be addressing the group on Friday along with Vice President Mike Pence. The president made his announcement a little bit later this week that he was going to be joining all of these law-abiding gun owners in Dallas, Texas. The weather's going to be beautiful. I hope that people come out. I know we're going to have a lot of attendees like we do every single year. And members are going to be really excited to hear from the president. And you all know, just as well as anyone, the work that Legacy Media has really put into driving a wedge between this president, law-abiding gun owners, And the president, while he entertained ideas from the other side of the aisle and people who wanted to restrict Second Amendment natural rights, he ultimately put his foot down and said that your Second Amendment is your Second Amendment. And so gun owners are looking forward to hearing the president address them.
Yeah, we'll see, because you know, individual states have changed. We know that Florida passed some pretty strict gun changes. But thanks, Dana. Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much.
You bet. All right, 21 minutes before the top of the hour. Here's Jillian.
Good morning. We're following a number of stories right now, so let's get you caught up on this. A teenager is behind bars accused of plotting a deadly ISIS terror attack on a Texas mall. The FBI says 17-year-old Mateen Azizi Yarand wrote a manifesto pledging his allegiance to ISIS, but he refused to actually talk about it in this bizarre jailhouse interview.
No comment, because whatever I say here can be used against me and stuff. So,
what's your thoughts on these charges against you?
Seem a bit extreme, yeah.
Court documents reveal he wanted to burn police officers, film the attack, and recruit other people. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeting last year he'd welcome all refugees with open arms. But now, Canada has a big immigration problem. 26,000 illegal immigrants crossing into Canada from the U.S. in the past 15 months. And Trudeau is blaming President Trump. He says negotiations for, quote, invisible border wall have failed. That plan would force immigrants to claim asylum in America before crossing into Canada. A police officer pulls out his baton, but not for protection, for a performance. Ah, look at those moves. That's Officer Pennington showing off his baton twirling skills in Sacramento. He actually used to be in a marching band and couldn't help but join in on the fun. What do you think?
That's a rhythm. That means there's two skills. You can enforce the law and you do something on the side that's substantial.
I know we're ready for summer, but when I hear that, I'm ready for college football.
That's right.
Soon enough, though.
But when I see them outside, I think to myself, what's the weather like now?
It's beautiful here in New York City, and look at this wonderful crowd we've got. Okay, it's unbelievable, but where are you guys from? Mississippi! Oh my gosh, and New York, and wait a minute, where are you from, young man?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, what's your name?
Coleman.
Are you here in New York for a fun time?
Yes.
Okay, good answer. Let's take a look at the maps real quick, because you know we have some severe weather going on the map across the central U.S., so we want to make sure that if you live across the plains, you need to know what to do if and when we've got a watcher warning in your area. This is day 4 of severe weather, and we have the potential for flooding as well, and this is going to expand into portions of the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley and here in the Northeast as well. But for now, we have spectacular weather here in New York. Are you guys on a girls' trip?
No. We sang at Carnegie Hall last night.
Can you give me a little sample? Oh, come on.
I don't know.
There's
like
200 of us. Real quick.
I know it.
Sing.
What do you want to sing?
I don't know, but we gotta go.
Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness.
I love it. Fantastic. Aren't they great, everybody? Big round of applause.
Very nice.
Yay! Oh my gosh, so amazing. We love you, Mississippi!
And we love you. That's right. All right, JD, thank you.
Thanks, James.
Meanwhile, straight ahead, a new survey says 2/3 of Americans dream of opening a small business. Is the Trump economy fueling that boom? Bob Massey, the property guy, here to discuss that next with Brian.
And you saw them debating politics earlier. Now Guy Benson and Marie Hart, they're breaking bread together. We're cooking with friends.
Today's weather is brought to you by non-drowsy 24-hour Claritin. Live Claritin Clear.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin and relief from symptoms caused by over 200 allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
No matter what size your label says, Men's Warehouse has you covered. It's time to take your style to the next level and create the perfect fit. It's time to like the way you look. Let's get started. Show of hands. Who wants customizable options chains?
Ones that make it fast and easy to analyze and take action. How about some of the lowest options fees? Are you raising your hand? Good. And it's time for Power E-Trade, the platform price and service that gives you the edge you need. All right, one quick game of rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2, 3, go. E-Trade, the original place to invest online.
It's happening. In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse could hand you $1 million and make all your dreams come true immediately. Yes! But that's just the beginning. Wow. Because then you get $1,000 a week for life, so you never have to worry about money again.
Is this a dream?
Go to PCH.com right now to enter or watch your mail. Hurry, the winner will be announced on TV June 29th. Enter today, and next month you could win $1 million and $1,000 a week for life.
Introducing Rust-Oleum Wipe New. Just wipe it on and instantly restore weathered, sun-damaged vehicles. Just one wipe will keep your vehicle looking like new for years to come. Nothing else compares in ease, durability, and staying power. Wipe New's groundbreaking formula outperforms traditional brands and has created a new standard that cannot be duplicated. Wipe New Headlight will instantly repair foggy, discolored headlights and keep them looking brand new. Rust-Oleum Wipe New products are guaranteed and available at fine retailers.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not
what we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
Why did she borrow $42,000 for tuition? Why did she borrow $19,400 for room and board? Why did she borrow $1,100 for student fees and $250 for a graduation gown? She did it to work for you. And now you can do something for her with a job benefit that helps your employees pay off their student loans. Gratify is gratitude.
All right, a new survey shows and it reveals 66% of Americans dream of opening up their own small business. So, is President Trump's current economy helping young people achieve their dream or making it easier? Here with the Massey Memo is Bob Massey himself. He's a Fox News legal analyst and host of The Property Man. So, today's economy, so much is better. Do you think this is a good time to start a business?
It is, Brian. I'll tell you what's changed a lot, and that is the energy that's in the country and the idea that you can start a small business. The tax plan helped a lot of large businesses, but for small businesses, what's helped it is the idea there's more people working, so there's more money into the economy, and so people aren't as fearful about starting a small business.
So you're not buying the Marco Rubio's thing that the average American hasn't seen any benefits from the tax cut?
Oh, no, I think they have. I mean, I don't represent a lot of small businesses, but enough to say that there is a feeling of optimism. Is there more to come? Yes. Is it better than the prior administration? Absolutely. So I think the attitude plays a very, very important role in the growth of business.
All right, how do you do it? Phil Knight famously told me when he started Nike, he asked his sister to go down, fill up one piece of paper, go down and drop it off, and next thing you know, he had this thing called Nike. Things have changed now. How do you start?
Well, there's a couple things. I think, first of all, you have to do your due diligence, Brian. You have to understand who's your competition. And out there right now with big companies like Amazon, you know, we know that it's very tough to start a small business. You have to also have the proper capital. If you don't have enough money to start the small business, Brian, and have some rainy day money during the tough times, it could be difficult. And you've got to develop a relationship with a bank, a good tax person, and a good lawyer that's going to give you some of that input. But just don't go in it because it's your dream. Understand what you're getting into and know your product.
And know you're going to have to sweat it out and make payroll, and there's no glory in that, especially when money's tight. Now, what is your memo? That's right. The Massey Memo.
My memo is, do not be undercapitalized. Understand, talk to people that have been in business and have been successful, and those people that went in business and didn't make it, and establish yourself with good banking institutions so you have money in order to grow that business.
All right, so it is still about personal relationships, and that can make a difference.
It is.
In the tough world of big money and big business, even in a small way.
Yes, sir.
Bob Massey, thanks so much. I'm going to watch The Property Man Fridays at 8:30 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. All right, and Bob somewhere is thanking me for that promo. Thank you. Hey, you saw them debating politics together earlier, and now they're at each other's throats in the kitchen. Guy Benson and Marie Harf are back breaking bread together and telling us how to do something important. But talk about important, that's how I describe Sandra Smith.
And I'll thank you for that, Taz. Brian Kilmeade, thank you. President Trump and his legal team going on the offense this morning. Rudy Giuliani says Mueller is desperate to make a case. A member of the House Judiciary Committee joins us in moments. And new hope for 3 hostages being held in North Korea after a meeting on the upcoming summit. President Trump says, stay tuned. Plus, Boy Scouts dropping the word boy from their name. Why? Join Bill and me on America's Newsroom in about 8 minutes.
I'm a fighter. Always have been. When I found out I had age-related macular degeneration, AMD, I wanted to fight back. My doctor and I came up with a plan. It includes PreserVision.
Only PreserVision AREDS 2 has the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of progression of moderate to advanced AMD.
That's why I fight. Because it's my vision. PreserVision.
Try AREDS 2 plus multivitamin.
Innovation is an ever-evolving journey. It pushes us beyond the ordinary. The Greenworks Pro 60-volt 21-inch self-propelled mower, sold exclusively at Lowe's and Lowe's.com.
Mesothelioma, it's all we do. With 7 offices across the country, we are large enough to take on big corporations. Let us come meet with you. Call us at 1-800-500-1895. That's 1-800-500-1895.
I went through my teen years when my teeth were really spaced. Braces weren't really an option because they were $5,000, $6,000 and my parents couldn't afford that.
You'll see, as a kid, I had this huge smile, and then over time, I lost my confidence.
We had just got married here, and I'm not showing my teeth whatsoever.
I didn't think my teeth were as bad as they were. When I look at some of the old pictures now, it's like, man, I didn't know my teeth were that messed up.
At Smile Direct Club, we believe everyone deserves a smile they'll love. That's why for 60% less than braces, we send invisible aligners directly to you. We straighten most smiles in an average of 6 months.
It's so convenient. You don't have to go to an orthodontist every month.
I never even feel that they're in.
They're like, are you wearing them right now? And I'm like, yes, I'm wearing it right now. They're like, no, you're not.
Having straight teeth was an amazing feeling after having a totally jacked up smile for so many years.
I smile and I'm confident with my smile now.
Get your confidence back risk-free. Our smile guarantee ensures that if aligners aren't a good fit for you, you get your money back.
Go for it.
Get started at SmileDirectClub.com for as low as $80 a month.
You won't see these folks at the post office. They have businesses to run. They have passions to pursue. How do they avoid trips to the post office? Stamps.com. Mail letters. Ship packages. All the amazing services of the post office right on your computer. Get a 4-week trial plus $100 in extras, including postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/try and never go to the post office again.
Look what my kids sent me for Mother's Day.
Oh, look at
Sherry's berries.
Sherry's berries, freaking delicious. Sherry's berries, freaking delicious.
He's a rescue.
Surprise mom today with fresh dipped strawberries for $19.99. Double the berries for $9.99 more. Go to berries.com, click the mic, and enter code SEND. Order today. Mom will love it.
So freaking good.
We swear.
Well, they may not agree on everything politically, as you'll hear on their brand new radio show called Benson and Harf, which premieres Monday. But do they agree on food and cocktails? Yes, they do.
Joining us right now for a second appearance on our show, which has never been done before, Cooking with Friends, Guy Benson and Marie Harf style. 2 people, 2 separate items. First, you have invented salmon.
Yes.
No one's salmon recipe.
Oh. So this is a salmon recipe that I cook for myself all the time. I don't cook a lot, and I'm a bachelor.
You used to work at a restaurant in Ridgewood, New Jersey, and you have developed this recipe from scratch.
True? Yeah. Yes. So I tried to sort of figure out how they made this dish, and I've been fine-tuning it. It's very easy to make, it's easy to clean up, and it's quick, which is important for me. Oh, no. I was a host.
Okay.
I charmed the guests.
He was the guy with the menus.
Exactly.
You just
So
go
you
to
have,
the grocery store,
you have
buy
a couple
your salmon
fillets, then you have mayo and country Dijon mustard.
Grainy mustard.
Okay.
Grainy mustard.
Grainy
and
mustard.
So thank you, Steve. So he is coating both salmon fillets. Meanwhile, you make a caprese salad of fresh mozzarella and tomatoes. You wilt some spinach, and you put the 2 salmon fillets in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at 380.
Look how beautiful
Not
that is.
very
And this is how it turns out.
380.
380.
What are you doing?
It's important.
Okay, so Saturday's the Kentucky Derby, so we're doing a Kentucky Mule with bourbon instead of vodka. So you muddle some mint and some lime together like this. You
Muddle a verb.
Yes, you get it all in here. And then you take the Kentucky bourbon, a nice healthy pour.
Oh, yes.
A healthy pour.
Very healthy.
Not freelancing.
And then ginger beer.
Very good.
And you
It's so
finish it
good.
off.
It's that simple?
It's that simple. You finish it off with a sprig of mint.
So is the moral of the story that Democrats have more fun?
Yes, always.
I'm cooking. I'm slaving over here on my salmon. You're all about the booze.
How is the
This
pairing?
is sensible. This salmon is sensible.
How
It
is
is.
the pairing with the drink and the salmon?
I think a Kentucky Mule goes well with any food, including at 8:50 and 8:55 in the morning.
Hey, guys, you
It's
have made
5 o'clock
history.
somewhere.
We got through 5 people, 2 guests, 2 dishes, and we have 45 seconds to spare.
Wow. Oh my
Usually, what do we want to do to fill that time?
Eat. You should eat it.
Absolutely.
It's pretty good, right?
We gotta wait till commercial to
That
drink.
really is good.
All right.
Guess
It
what?
takes like 25 minutes start to finish.
I'm going to the Kentucky Derby today. So
This is perfect.
So cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
Oh, I have several hats.
Oh, wonderful.
All right. Congratulations on your show. When can we
Thank
hear
you.
it?
6 to 8 p.m. starting Monday.
Yes!
BensonandHarf.com.
All right.
And there may be some
Fox
drinking
News Talk.
during the show.
I
More Fox and
predicted.
Friends in just a moment.
Guy, thanks for inventing salmon.
Yeah, no, it was a lot, but I'm glad
Sunny
to do it.
skies ahead for your wonderful show.
Thank you so much.
I'm never letting this go. I'm stuck on you. Stuck like glue.
Experience a world of exceptional performance. It's Steel Dealer Days. Pick your power, fuel or battery, and get great values on hardworking steel grass trimmers.
Remember, steel products are only sold by servicing dealers.
Steel Dealer Days are happening now. Search STIHL or visit steeldealers.com.
It's time to drop all those unhealthy pounds that have been weighing you down. 30 pounds down.
I'm down 41 pounds.
79 pounds down.
Introducing Turbo 13 from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guaranteed.
You'll improve your health, have more energy, and lose weight. I'm Marie, and I dropped 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Order now and save 40% off every program. That's 40% off breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. Act now and get this limited time savings on every program. Plus, get 1 week of Turbo Shakes with probiotics to help shrink your belly free.
41 pounds down.
Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month.
If I can do it, you can do it. Join me in the millions of people who have lost weight with Nutrisystem.
Go online or call 877-296-THIN right now and save 40% off every program. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Most people come to LA with big dreams. We came with big appetites.
With Expedia, you can book a flight, hotel, car, and activity all in one place. Everything you need to go. Expedia.
As a working mom, I'm thankful my mom is able to help out. So I bought her the all-new Jitterbug Flip from Great Call. It's so easy to use, and with a larger screen and bigger buttons, it's even easier to dial. There's also a 5-star button on the keypad.
One touch and you'll be immediately connected to a highly trained agent who can confirm your location, assess the situation, and get you the help you need.
For a limited time, get 25% off at Best Buy or Rite Aid.
We're on a mission to show drip coffee drinkers it's time to wake up to Keurig. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. How are you? Well, watch this. I pop that in there, press brew, that's it.
So rich.
I love it. That's why you should be a Keurig man.
Full-bodied.
Are you sure you're describing the coffee and not me?
Damn it, General! The rebels are murdering prisoners. Our soldiers!
I know! Of course I know!
How will we end this war?
Congratulations, Ainsley.
You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. We're going to be in New Jersey in your neck of the woods on Sunday. Please come out. We're going to be at Books and Greetings in Northvale, New Jersey at 1 p.m. You can go to church with your family and come over and get this Christian book.
And special thanks to the president for tweeting out
the
support of your book.
tweeted out to buy my book.
And by the way, the book now is on the New York Times bestseller list. It's in the top 10.
Awesome. It's called The Light Within Me. Brian, radio today.
Oh, yeah, we lead with Rudy Giuliani. He's waiting in studio. I'm going to go.
Bye. Okay, bye, Brian.
Good luck with the radio
Kentucky
show.
Derby tomorrow. Kentucky Derby tomorrow.
Morning, everybody. Breaking news, 9 a.m. President Trump and his legal team now on the offensive. Two major headlines at the hour. Rudy Giuliani answering that $130,000 question about Stormy Daniels and laying out the parameters for a potential interview with Bob Mueller, if that interview ever happens. Alan Dershowitz on our program yesterday said, take the subpoena and fight it. It's the best chance you've got, and that seems to be the legal strategy that's now developing. I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning, everybody. Live inside of America's Newsroom. How you doing, Sandra?
Good morning to you,
No shortage of headlines today.
A lot going on. Let's get to it. I'm Sandra Smith, the president's lawyer, clarifying that President Trump paid Cohen for unspecified expenses and did not know that that money would be going to Daniels. Giuliani also laying out the conditions for a possible interview between President Trump and special counsel Robert Mueller. The former New York City mayor saying the sit-down would be 2 to 3 hours max and would hinge on some specific conditions.
I don't expect that we're going to have an interview with the exonerating report already written. They're like we had.
I have a lot of questions for you.
I can't. I would like to get one not under oath. I'd want it videotaped, and I'm not videotaped, but audio tapes. I want to make sure they don't misrepresent his answers. But this is an outrageous miscarriage of justice.
Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is reporting live from the North Lawn this morning. John, good morning.
Can't believe how quickly this is moving, Sandra, and a stunning revelation last night on Sean Hannity's program when Rudy Giuliani acknowledged that the president did in fact reimburse Michael Cohen, his personal attorney, for that $130,000 that Cohen paid to Daniels for that non-disclosure agreement. However, Giuliani insists that the president was paying Cohen a retainer for services rendered and expenses incurred and didn't know specifically what the money was being used for. Giuliani said this morning that the payment was not to help the campaign. It was to save the president's reputation. Listen here.
This was for personal reasons. This was the president had been hurt personally, not politically, personally so much, and the first lady by some of the false allegations. That one more false allegation, 6 years old. I think he was trying to help the family. And for that, the man is being treated like some kind of villain. And I think he was just being a good lawyer and a good man.
The president weighing in on all of this with a lengthy tweet this morning, perhaps his longest ever. Mr. Cohen, an attorney, received a monthly retainer not from the campaign and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into through reimbursement, a private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA. These agreements are very common among celebrities and people of wealth. In this case, it is in full force and effect and will be used in arbitration for damages against Ms. Clifford, that's Stormy Daniels. The agreement was used to stop the false and extortionist accusations made by her about an affair, despite already having signed a detailed letter admitting that there was no affair prior to its violation by Ms. Clifford and her attorney. This was a private agreement. Money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction. Clearly, this is a shift in legal strategy, and at the core of this shift is the belief that the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York is going after Michael Cohen for an illegal campaign contribution. Rudy Giuliani talked to me at midnight last night, told me that the disclosure of the reimbursement takes off the table the notion that there was any FEC violation. Stormy Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti, though, doesn't think prosecutors or the courts will buy the explanation. Listen here.
Our case just got exponentially better in the last 24 hours. This is not about sex. This isn't about what happened between Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump in the bedroom. It's not about what happened in 2006 or 2007. I've been saying this all along. This is about a cover-up. It's about lies told the American people.
One big thing hanging out there, though, is on February the 13th, Michael Cohen insisted that he didn't get reimbursed for the money, saying, quote, neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Ms. Clifford, and neither reimbursed me for the payment either directly or indirectly. Now, in that statement, Sandra, he does not mention the president specifically. He says the Trump organization or the campaign, but it's pretty clear there that he was trying to suggest he paid the money himself and didn't get paid back.
Meanwhile, John, continued negotiations for an interview of the president by Robert Mueller. What conditions does this White House want met from the Mueller team as far as the length of the interview?
Yeah, well, one thing is negotiations continue apace. They are not sure whether or not the president is going to sit down with Mueller at this point. But Rudy Giuliani, in a phone call to me yesterday and then on Hannity's program and again this morning on Fox and Friends, saying that there would have to be very, very strict conditions for an interview. The scope of questions has to be whittled down to just the central issues, Russia and the Comey firing. He told me yesterday everything else is tangential. And as you pointed out at the top, he would only give Mueller a relatively brief opportunity to question the president, some 2 to 3 hours. Listen to what he said this morning.
That's the amount of time, Steve, that we would allow, only because that's what Clinton got. He got only 2.5 hours, and he fought with them over discovery. We've given them 1.2 million documents. Didn't fight with them over it. We could have raised presidential privilege, other privileges. We gave them a complete picture of what's going on. They should be able to do this if they have a case in 2.5 hours, or they want to dispose of it.
Giuliani told me yesterday afternoon that in order to have an interview, they would have to have a pretty solid expectation that the Mueller team would keep an open mind, that it could be Comey who's lying and the president who's telling the truth. He also said, Sandra, that they are ready to fight a subpoena if it comes to that. But he also said it's likely that any interview wouldn't happen for a number of weeks. The president, of course, is consumed by this pending summit with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and there just wouldn't be time to prep him before at least sometime in June. Sandra?
Just your average Thursday morning at the White House. John Roberts, thank you.
What time is it?
Yeah, it's 9:06. Plenty of time. John, thank you. Charlie Hurd, opinion editor, Washington Times, Fox News contributor. Charlie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
You've been watching and listening. It's my sense after talking with the former mayor earlier today, there's not going to be an interview. They're going to fight this thing all the way to the Supreme Court. What do you sense right now based on what you have heard from Rudy Giuliani?
Well, I was kind of surprised that he even put out there the idea of 2 to 3 hours, limit, because I agree with you. I think that the ship has been sort of moving in the direction of not doing an interview, and he makes a very good point that previously, these demands for documents have been rebuffed by presidents. This president has been very forthcoming in terms of turning over documentation. I don't think we know of any examples of where the White House or the president's team has refused to turn over stuff. It really does come down to answering a lot of sort of amorphous questions about what he was thinking at what time when this happened and that happened, and that's a pretty, as Alan Dershowitz pointed out, that's a very, very dangerous thing for anybody to go into.
What Dershowitz said yesterday, challenged the subpoena legally, had a better chance of success than sitting down at the table with a table of prosecutors there. Look up at the makeup of the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, we're taking this to another step, Charlie, but in talking with people close to his legal team, they think they've got a real good shot of challenging the constitutionality, fighting a subpoena of a U.S. sitting president. Do they?
I think I really do think that they do have a very good argument. But politically speaking, the other route is to go ahead and do, as Alan Dershowitz pointed out, to go ahead and answer all of the questions in writing. You could even make them public if you wanted. But to answer all of those questions as fully as you can, and then sit down and just refuse to answer questions and say that on the grounds that you don't want to incriminate yourself by stepping into a perjury trap that you can't really foresee.
That's interesting. So that would be a play for public opinion more than a legal front.
Exactly, but you are absolutely allowed. Anybody can plead the fifth in a situation like this, and certainly the president can. The reason that he wouldn't do it is because it would be so politically damaging outside of that room. But if this is the one guy who could probably make the argument that, look, the only reason I'm not answering these questions is, I've already answered them. Look, I put them out publicly. I've already answered them. I'm not afraid to answer them. I just don't want to walk into some perjury trap that I can't foresee.
Maybe you get 5 votes on the bank of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. Instant analysis there. Charlie Hurt in Washington, D.C. spoke with Rudy Giuliani earlier today and has been doing a lot of interviews. He spoke to the president several times since last night and again this morning, he said. He said last night on Hannity he wanted to address the Mueller matter first, but also wanted to get this information out, Sandra, about the payments to the attorney Michael Cohen. I said, are your stories changing? Because it appears the stories could be. He said, you can't remember everything, Bill, so when different matters come up, we try and address it. He said Reagan submitted answers in writing. Hillary did a Q&A, was not under oath. We'll fight the subpoena and take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court where they think they might have the votes. And that seems to be, listening to John Roberts say all this is changing in the past 12 hours, that seems to be where we are.
Legal team clearly on offense. Meanwhile, stunning new video coming in from the deadly Las Vegas massacre from last year. Las Vegas police releasing intense body camera footage from the moments they stormed into his Mandalay Bay hotel suite. Groups of officers sweeping rooms on the floor of the active shooter, trying to track him down. Adam Housley is live in Los Angeles with the latest on all of this, as this is our first look. Adam.
Yeah, Sandra, pretty dramatic. I can't believe it's been over 7 months since the shooting that killed 58 and injured hundreds more. This video was court-ordered. Las Vegas Metro PD fought the idea of releasing the body cam video. They lost that fight. It shows video from 2 cameras on 2 different Las Vegas Metro police officers as they made their way from the casino all the way up to the 32nd floor where the shooter was. Take a listen.
Let her know we're doing another breach. Another breach. Another breach.
We got 1 suspect down, 419 inside.
That was about 50 minutes after the shooter had killed himself. We now know later, but the video, about 2.5 hours worth, once again reminds us of so many unanswered questions. As officers are yelling, there's a shooter, he's shot and he's killed multiple people already. Meantime, you see gamblers at the slot machines on the first floor, still gambling, still filling the casino as a tactical team made its way through the hotel and eventually upstairs at the Mandalay Bay. Paddock, again, began firing about at the Route 91 Festival around 10:05 p.m. Officers would not reach his room, at least breach the door, until 11:20. The deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. 59 people killed, hundreds injured, victims still demanding answers.
It's like being in the desert and needing water. I run to it. Like when I knew there was news coming out, I really thirst for information, and I think that just comes with, we all want some answers.
Yeah, answers. And in fact, this video does bring a couple of more questions. First of all, it's only a sample of hundreds of hours of body cam video. And secondly, the first officer that went through the door at 11:20 p.m., again, significant time after the shooting had stopped, we now know, did not turn his camera on, which has caused a lot of controversy, a lot of questions about whether that officer will be disciplined because he's required to do so. So, Sandra, still a lot here we don't know, but it shows the massive arsenal inside the room that man, that killer, had basically brought in there to shoot and massacre people down below.
Still a lot of unanswered questions there. Adam Housley, thank you.
More on that coming up here, 12 minutes past. Breaking news from North Korea. Watch this story. There is new hope for 3 Americans held hostage in Pyongyang. Will they find freedom today? Former Navy SEAL Virginia Congressman Scott Taylor next on that with his reaction.
Plus, another tragedy for the U.S. military. All 9 people aboard a C-130 killed as the aircraft plunged to the ground in its final moments of retirement. We will speak to a former Navy pilot.
Also, a former Trump campaign advisor who just yesterday spent 3 hours with Bob Mueller's attorneys, now talking about what he says are unprecedented attacks against the current administration that they're now trying to deal with. Listen.
It's nothing compared to the death threats that my family and I are getting. It's nothing compared to the piece of a sniper rifle that came in the middle of my wife last month. I'm just a witness. I can't imagine if somebody's a subject or a target what they're going to go through.
Mom, Dad, hi. I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-through lane. But what a powerful life lesson. And don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll just forgive you. 4 weeks without the car. Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Your heart doesn't only belong to you.
Bye, Grandpa.
And if you have heart failure, entrusting your heart to Entresto may help. Entresto is a heart failure medicine that helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. In the largest heart failure study ever, Entresto was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital compared to a leading heart failure medicine. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or aliskiren, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARM. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto and help make more tomorrows possible. Entresto for heart failure.
You might take something for your heart or joints, but do you take something for your brain? With an ingredient originally found in jellyfish, Prevagen is the #1 selling brain health supplement in drugstores nationwide. Prevagen, the name to remember.
Adapt supply chains based on trends, tweets, and storms, and make adjustments on the fly. The IBM Cloud, the cloud for smarter business.
It's coming. Mother's Day. In a world of unnecessary upsells and hidden fees, a hero emerges. Books.com. Free delivery, transparent pricing, happiness guaranteed. We even have flowers that were grown on the side of a volcano. Seriously. And the critics love it. Use code HERO to save 15% at Books.com.
If you've been turned down for a mortgage because of credit or tax return issues, Cash Call Mortgage now has credit and income-solving mortgages for people like you. Just call 855-890-CASH and we'll work with you to find a solution to your mortgage issues.
So I think I got to get my roof repaired. You know anybody?
Yeah, actually I might.
Yeah, great. Can you do a free background check on them? Get me some additional quotes and book it for 2 weeks from now.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything Home Advisor can. So to find and book a top-rated home pro for free, just ask Home Advisor.
How did you talk me into this? This is crazy! Horns! Watch the horns! Okay.
What you don't see can hurt you. If you just monitor your credit, you can miss certain identity theft threats. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And if there is a problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 million protection package. LifeLock, starting at $9.99 a month.
Another alert now, 17 past. Is there new hope now for 3 Americans detained in North Korea? 3 men shown here may have been moved recently to the capital city. And the president tweeting this in the last 12 hours. As everybody's aware, the past administration has long been asking for 3 hostages to be released from a North Korean labor camp, but to no avail. Stay tuned. Former Navy SEAL Virginia Congressman Scott Taylor with me now. And sir, good morning to you. Do you have insight as to whether or not these men are coming home soon or even today?
I'm not privy to that inside information, but this is shaping up to be a gesture of goodwill by the North Koreans, and kudos to the president for working diligently to get them released.
So you see each side moving a little more toward one another? How would you size that up?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's a historic opportunity here. You know, this administration obviously is working diligently with diplomatic efforts, but backed up by military efforts. They've had strong sanctions. They've had, obviously continuing to do military exercises with our allies in the region. The president has been very good, quite frankly, at shepherding not just our allies in the region, but also China and Russia and the UN to take action. So, one of the things, I'm writing an op-ed I think that could happen and could be useful in the summit as well is, as you very well know about the Marshall Plan, with the United States finance, of course, the rebuilding of Europe after World War II. The president has an opportunity here to have not a Marshall Plan, but a Trump plan, to not the United States to pay for it, but our allies who, of course, if there was war, it would be much more costly in treasure and lives, and they could come together to create a fund to bring North Korea into this century, quite frankly, in exchange for denuclearization, which is something that he seems to be very serious about doing.
Yeah, so you would help North Korea rebuild its country. I
think that the president could shepherd. Sure.
I don't see this leader going for that. I mean, he lives in the most closed society on the planet today. Sure. And with the exception of Cuba, perhaps, he's the last holdout for that type of life.
That's very true, but as you saw when Kim was meeting his counterpart in South Korea, he was making remarks on the infrastructure and how their infrastructure was much better. So I think that this could be a carrot, if you will, via our allies in the region like Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, who would stand to lose a tremendous amount if there's not peace on the Korean Peninsula. And I think that this president, President Trump, could be the one to have a Trump plan and shepherd them in doing so, for them to finance that. It would be much more costly if there was a war.
We'll look for your op-ed. Final question. Mike Pompeo was just there. It seems upon his visit, he wasn't sure he was going to meet with Kim Jong-un, and he was called across the street to have that meeting, and we now have the evidence here in pictures. Do you meet at the DMZ? President Trump seems to favor that. I guess that would be the logical location. Final thought on that.
Well, I think it was good that Secretary Pompeo went there, number one. And number two, it would be very historically symbolic to do it right there in the DMZ. And I think, why not?
Yeah. Let's get these Americans home. I don't know what Kim's calculation is here, but he's taken people hostage in the past, accused them of hostile acts. Always the same allegation. You're trying to overthrow our government, when in the past there's been no evidence of that. Let's get these men home. Sir, thank you, Scott Taylor, with your time today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bill.
Sure.
Tehran now answering U.S. threats to pull out of the Iran nuke deal. The Iranian foreign minister now saying they will not renegotiate that agreement. Details on that straight ahead. Plus, another scare on a Southwest Airlines plane. How another cracked window forced an emergency landing.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase relieves your worst symptoms, including nasal congestion, which most pills don't. Flonase helps block 6 key inflammatory substances. Most pills only block 1. Flonase.
All right, I brought in new Max Protein.
To give you the protein you need, with less of the sugar you don't. I'll take that.
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. New Ensure Max Protein and 2 great flavors.
Millions of you are online right now searching one topic. That will generate over 600 million results. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, searching for answers, like where to treat, can feel even more overwhelming. So start your search with a specialist at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Start with teams of cancer treatment experts under one roof. Start where specialists use advanced genomic testing to guide precision cancer treatment that may lead to targeted therapies and more treatment options. Start where there's a commitment to analyzing the latest research and conducting clinical trials, to help each patient get the personalized cancer care they deserve. Start at one of the Cancer Treatment Centers of America hospitals near you. The evolution of cancer care is here. Learn more at cancercenter.com/experts. Appointments available now.
I was up and down with my weight my entire life.
When diets don't work, it's easy to quit. From a top diet 8 years straight comes the new Rapid Results.
If you see immediate results, you stick with it.
Lose up to 16 pounds in just 4 weeks. With one-on-one support, you'll see change fast. Eat 6 times a day. The secret is what you eat and when. Start Rapid Results to lose 16 pounds for $16 plus the cost of food and get $100 in free food. Hurry, call now.
Duncan just protected his family with a $500,000 life insurance policy. How much do you think it cost him? $100 a month? $75? $50? Actually, Duncan got his $500,000 for under $28 a month. Less than $1 a day. His secret? SelectQuote. In just minutes, a SelectQuote agent will comparison shop nearly a dozen highly rated life insurance companies and give you a choice of your 5 best rates. Duncan's wife, Cassie, got a $750,000 policy for under $22 a month. Give your family the security it needs at a price you can afford. Since 1985, SelectQuote has saved over 1 million families millions of dollars on life insurance. Call now, 800-304-5039, or visit SelectQuote.com. Discover what over 1 million families know now. We shop, you save.
So now a second Southwest flight forced to make an emergency landing after a window cracks open while in mid-flight. Happened on a flight from Chicago to Newark not long after takeoff. That flight quickly diverted to Cleveland, Ohio. Passengers transferred to a new plane and put back on schedule, but not before telling some folks about what happened on board.
I heard a pop like someone had thrown something, a rock or something, at the windows if you were driving. And didn't really process it for a second and looked over. Realized there was a crack all around the window and hit the flight attendant and unbuckled and ran to the back of the plane with the gentleman behind me.
Well, that just weeks after a different Southwest flight engine failed, blowing out the window and killing 1 passenger. Some of the crew members on board that flight were at the White House this week.
Meanwhile, authorities in Georgia are saying there are no survivors from yesterday's military plane crash onto a Georgia highway. The plane was making its final flight before retirement before crashing. Military officials saying a combination of things contributed to this accident. Former Navy pilot and Fox News correspondent Leah Gabriel joins us now, and we do know that this was 60 years old, this cargo plane, Leah.
Yeah, Sandra, first, just thoughts and prayers to the families of those service members who were killed. Such a tragic accident. One thing that just looks very apparent to me as a pilot is it looks very apparent that that plane somehow became unable to be flown. And there are several different things that could have caused that. This was the plane's last flight. They were flying it to the Boneyard in Arizona, where aircraft that are old are oftentimes stored, parts are stripped from them. If it was carrying a cargo load of some sort, that cargo load could have shifted, sort of like if you're driving a car and you have something in the front seat and you hit the gas hard and that package or whatever goes to the back. Something like that could have happened that would cause the plane to become unflyable. That's called a CG transfer or a load transfer. There also could have been a flight control problem of some sort that caused the aircraft to pitch down, or even some sort of a power issue, which on an airplane with 4 engines like the C-130, that's unlikely. But something where you have a loss of power and then you become slow and the pilot's trying to keep the airplane flying, it becomes slow. You see how it goes into a turn. It could have essentially stalled, but something happened that caused that plane to become uncontrollable, and such a tragic situation, Sandra.
And when you look at the history of military crashes, it's raising some eyebrows, Leah. In the last military crash that took place, the Pentagon was asked about it, and they said that no, we're not at a crisis point with this. But here's the latest stats. We had our brain room pull them up. Out of all the branches of the military, 2018, 10 crashes so far this year. Last year, 22. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, and clearly there is a trend, a rising number of military crashes. Leah.
Well, Sandra, our military leaders are never going to want to say that we're in a crisis because, our face of our country to the rest of the world needs to be a position of strength. But I don't think that there's any denying that we're seeing a huge spike in the number of incidents. The Military Times reported that there was a 40% spike in military manned aircraft incidents since the Budget Control Act went into effect and since mandatory military spending cuts went into effect in 2013. They're saying at this point, the Secretary of the Navy has said that there's not data to support a direct correlation, but I spoke with a senior Navy official who tells me folks deploying are having what they need at the expense of those at home, and that's because of the way the military has been funded over the past 8 or 9 years in terms of making sure that those who are deployed are getting what they need, but then you have to consider how the military planning is done and training is done. If people don't have the training that they need, they're not proficient enough to handle emergencies when they do happen, Sandra. So it's a matter of maintenance, having the right parts, and also having the right pilot hours and the right training for our maintainers and our air crew.
Meanwhile, this Southwest flight, I know you can weigh in on this as well. Another incident with the Southwest Airlines plane, another cracked window. This flight was taking off from Chicago, headed to Newark, made an emergency landing in Cleveland. Leah, what do you know about this?
Well, first of all, I want to mention that they did not actually declare an emergency. It was considered an emergency landing, but if the pilots felt as though they needed to declare an emergency, in other words, they needed priority handling to get priority handling to a runway, then they would have declared an emergency. It's important for people to know that things like this do happen. Cracked windows are not that unusual when it comes to airlines, and they have redundant systems. It's very different from a blunt trauma like what happened when that piece of the engine basically came through the window a couple weeks ago. So this is not as scary as it may seem to passengers.
Well, thankfully no injuries there, and those passengers were able to get back on schedule and get to where they were going. Leah, thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you.
Good for them. 3 years ago, two brothers radicalized by Al-Qaeda stormed the offices of a French satirical newspaper and gunned down 12 people inside. Today, Fox News gets a rare interview with the Muslim preacher who radicalized them, what he is now telling us. Straight ahead.
Plus, President Trump's legal team dishing out some strong words for the Mueller investigation, what it means for the chances of a potential face-to-face interview.
This has become a witch hunt, like the president said. And if you look at those questions that are being asked, they're trap questions. A first-year prosecutor would do better than that.
We're family. We'd do anything for each other. But this time, those bonds were definitely tested.
Frog leg for my baby brother.
Don't frogs have, like, 2 legs? So they should have 2 of these. Since I'm active duty and she's family, I was able to set my sister up with a sweet membership from Navy Federal. If you hold it closer, it looks bigger.
Eat your food.
My big sis likes to make tiny food, and I'm okay with that.
Open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Navy Federal Credit Union.
With the Honda Clarity Plug-in Hybrid, the end of your battery charge isn't the end of the world. It runs on electric and has gas if you need it for a range rating of 340 miles. The all-new Clarity Plug-in Hybrid from Honda.
Every time I smiled, I had to cover my mouth because I was so ashamed. When the denture slipped, I would have to excuse myself and go to the restroom virtually in tears. It kept me from being able to speak properly. I could not eat corn, apples, baby back ribs. I did not want dentures to be part of my life. I pretty much decided dental implants were the route I was going to take.
Let's do a head-to-head comparison of dental implants versus dentures. With dentures, the ability to taste food, to bite and chew is altered. The worst thing about dentures, bone loss. When you put an implant inside the bone, which is like the root of a tooth, now you preserve the bone. It's a game changer. With implants, you walk into a restaurant, you order anything you want. You eat just like you have real teeth.
Before you knew it, here I was with my brand new teeth.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I can smile, my confidence is back.
Call Clear Choice today.
I promise to have and to hold from this day forward till death do us part.
SelectQuote can help you keep your promise with life insurance starting at under $1 a day.
But you promised, Dad.
Come on.
SelectQuote helped Jim, 41, keep his promise by finding him a $500,000 policy for under $26 per month. And found Kathy, 37, a $750,000 policy for just $22 per month. Since 1985, we've helped millions of families by finding them affordable coverage by impartially shopping highly rated insurers offering over 70 policies.
Dad, you're coming, right?
You promise?
You promise? You promise?
I promise.
Keep your promise. Call SelectQuote at 800-304-3359 or visit SelectQuote.com for life insurance coverage starting at under $1 a day. We shop, you save.
President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, going on offense against the Mueller investigation. He argues leaked questions show the special counsel is desperate to make a case against the president. He also adds that although they're still considering a sit-down interview with Mueller, it should be a non-starter.
We have to go there and prepare him for this silly deposition about a case in which he supposedly colluded with the Russians, but there's no evidence of that? I mean, everybody forgets the basis of the case is dead. Sessions should step in and close it and say enough's enough.
Let's bring in Tom Dupree, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under President George W. Bush. Tom, if I could get your thoughts this morning, a lot has been changing on this front, and clearly you are seeing the president's legal team on the offense.
Senator, it has been a fast-moving, evolving situation over the last 48 hours, to say the least. And I do think we're seeing a new approach from the president's team. I think what they are doing now is they are taking that list of questions that Mueller gave them and really trying to narrow this thing down to keep on the table the possibility of an interview, but an interview within carefully circumscribed boundaries. They want to put time limits on it. They want to put subject matter limits on it. They don't want to open the president up to 2 or 3 days of open-ended questioning by Bob Mueller.
And here is Rudy Giuliani this morning saying, hey, why don't you give us all the other things you gave everybody else previously? Listen to this.
Maybe they like to give us all the things that Clinton got, like the memo written before the interview, like no under oath,
right?
Like Comey making up his mind before he ever interviewed her, and your lawyers in the room, all of whom were witnesses, sitting there making signals at you.
I mean, he's going as far as to say that they are desperate to make a case out of this here. And he went as far as to call on Sessions to end this. Enough is enough, he said.
Yeah, look, I think it is unlikely that Sessions, assuming he weren't recused, but anyone at the Justice Department is going to pull the plug at this point on Bob Mueller. My guess is what we are going to see over the next few weeks is we are going to be seeing a negotiation, some of it carried out behind the scenes, some of it carried out very publicly, in which both sides are trying to discuss the ground rules for an interview of the president, which I do think is going to happen.
Do you think it's unusual that they're even going as far as to discuss the parameters of a potential, at this point, interview and even put a time limit on it?
It doesn't strike me as that unusual. I think that from the president's lawyers' perspectives, they need to draw certain lines in the sand about Mueller cannot go this far. He can't have a full day of the president's time. He can't go into certain topical areas. And so I think what we're seeing right now is an attempt to win the battle in the court of public opinion, to show that the demands Mueller is making are way over the top and need to be scaled back.
It's interesting, though, that he's trying to push this to happen after this upcoming summit with North Korea and Kim Jong-un. Giuliani made it very clear, we as lawyers cannot effectively prepare the president over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So they want to push it out till after this meeting with North Korea.
Yeah, and look, Giuliani's got a fair point. I mean, this is not an ordinary litigant or an ordinary deponent. This is the President of the United States who has a lot going on, to say the least, besides the possibility of preparing for a deposition. And so anytime you're talking about litigation involving the President, we saw this back in the Bill Clinton days, you need to be very mindful and respectful of the President's schedule, because you got to keep in mind that he has a lot of higher priorities than answering these questions.
Tom, is there a risk to his legal team so publicly discussing all of this, including the parameters of the potential interview?
Well, from my perspective, I think the danger is that they are going to get potentially locked into some sort of public position that it would be tough to back down from. If they say publicly the President will never do this, he'll never do that, that harms you in a negotiation because it limits your flexibility. It prevents you from walking back if you've taken an absolute ironclad position on something.
Interesting stuff, Tom Dupree. You say a lot's changed over the last 48 hours. It's like the last 2 hours things are changing fast on this front.
Check in later today, right?
Tom Dupree, we'll check in with you again soon. Thank you, sir.
That's why God made cable news, right, Sandra? It has been more than 3 years since two brothers carried out deadly attacks on the offices of the French satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo in Paris. This was a scene from that day. Stunning stuff. 12 people killed inside, 11 others injured. The attackers managed to get out of the office and continued firing those shots in the streets outside of Paris. And now the man said to have helped radicalize the brothers is speaking about his path to de-radicalization and how he's hoping to help others do the same. Interesting twist here. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Amy Kellogg has that story live with us now. And Amy, what did you learn?
Well, Bill, it is rare to get sort of an insight into the mindset of a jihadist, and also extremely rare to hear one repent. A lot of people will doubt the sincerity of someone saying that I've left that life behind, but others say that people who have lived and been disillusioned are the most effective tools to debunk the ISIS propaganda, which, despite, Bill, the fall of ISIS territories, is still apparently as out there as ever. Now, Farid Benyatou, a Frenchman of Algerian descent, has de-radicalized and has been working with France's premier de-radicalization expert in the race against time to get the thousands of French extremists off their twisted ideology. He fell into radical Islam at the age of 15, saying he was a lost soul with a father who was often drunk and he wanted a way out of his reality. That led to a career as a preacher and recruiter of young Frenchmen to go to Iraq to fight. The Kouachi brothers, who murdered 12 people at and around the offices of the satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo in Paris, were his disciples until 2005. But he was particularly close to one brother, Sharif. Kouachi and Benyatou were arrested for their activities. They didn't actually do much jail time. Oddly, in jail, Benyatou managed to de-radicalize while Kouachi hardened. Nevertheless, Benyatou tried to talk his old friend out of his ways in vain, and now Benyatou says he feels a sense of responsibility.
It is I who gave him the ideology, who encouraged him at a time to go to Iraq. When he had doubts, I helped dispel them. I participated in some way.
Bill, it's interesting. Benyatou says the fact that he was not hanging out with other Salafists in prison helped him de-radicalize. Also, the fact that longtime Jewish neighbors embraced him when he was released from jail, knowing full well what he had gone to jail for, had really helped him understand that there was a way out of all of this. So perhaps that is a lesson to the prison systems. The bottom line, though, now there are 19,000 people said to be radicalized in France, 2,000 considered extremely dangerous. So really, the work is a race against time.
It's still a problem for them, certainly, and others. Amy Kellogg, thank you. Fascinating report there. Thanks.
The largest gang crackdown in California this year, getting dozens of guns, pounds of drugs, and nearly 90 accused gang members off the streets. But investigators calling it merely a drop in the bucket. What we know about the threat of the so-called Mexican mafia.
Also, former Trump campaign advisor Michael Caputo interviewed yesterday for 3 hours by Bob Mueller's team, and now he is talking a lot. Listen to how he describes his experience and what lawyers wanted to know from him. More on that.
They're looking down the avenues of all the evidence that they're putting together. I'll tell you, they know more about the Trump campaign than anybody that worked there. And they know more about what I did in 2016 than I do myself.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know about the New Day 100 Home Loan for Veterans. It lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. The New Day 100 VA loan lets you refinance your mortgages, consolidate your credit card debt, put cash in the bank, and lower your payments an average of $600 a month. Call them today.
Go to newdayusa.com or call 1-844-383-1588.
My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I take Metamucil every day. It naturally traps and removes the waste that weighs me down, so I feel lighter. Try Metamucil and begin to feel what lighter feels like. Introducing new Metamucil Fiber Thins, made with 100% natural psyllium fiber. A great tasting and easy way to start your day. New at Walmart and Walmart.com.
They want more out of life in every way. So they're starting this year's garden with Miracle Grow potting mix and plant food. Together they produce 3 times the harvest to enjoy, and of course to share. This soil is fresh from the forest and patiently aged to guarantee more of what matters. Every time. 3 times the harvest, 1 powerful guarantee. Miracle Grow.
And the wolf huffed and puffed.
Like you do sometimes, Grandpa?
Well, when you have COPD, it can be hard to breathe. It can be hard to get air out, which can make it hard to get air in. So I talked to my doctor. She said,
Symbicort could help you breathe better, starting within 5 minutes. Symbicort doesn't replace